Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fins Talk Overtime. I'm your host, Bobby Fins Talk, joined by the one and only Bret Lagasse. Bret, what's up, my man?
Oh my God, I feel like I just came out of retirement or something. I feel like I'm Tom Brady.
You know, when I see you, that song I hear in my head is Reunited and it feels so good.
I had to take a sabbatical for a little bit.
I get it. Hey, Steve
Life
Malloy, Evan Posner, everyone in the comments. I see you. Thank you
yes.
for tuning in. We had some technical difficulties, but
And don't forget, Evan, I don't know who Bret Lagasse is either. I mean, jeez.
Can we just get the show on?
By the way, I know this was 2 years ago, I think. I don't know. I can't remember. I got pretty much everyone but the first year and last year's. I'm wearing my salute to service stuff right now.
Love it. Everyone, you watching Overtime on the Fins Talk Sports. Smash that like and subscribe button. We got a fun show. I didn't even have time to prep really for it. I just
Do we have to?
No, I don't think we need to. We got plenty to discuss.
You know why? We're first in the division right now. Take
first
that.
In the division, second
all the Jets
in the
fans
AFC.
Talking trash. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, that hoodie is nice, Justin. I love it. And look at me. This is why I wear under my work shirt today. So all I had to do was unbutton.
I have like every year my wife buys a salute to service hoodie, and this year I wanted the t-shirt hoodie that was sold out. So hopefully they get more in.
Oh man, I'll take a look down in Miami when I'm down there at the stadium store. I'll see what they got down there for you.
Yes. Let me know.
Absolutely. And let's see here. Anthony, thank you for tuning in. Everyone, if you're watching, smash that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you. Let's get this ball rolling. Again, I don't have any notes. I have nothing going on. I'm running
except we got our first double-digit win of the season.
The first.
I've been asking for it.
The first statement game.
Yes.
Of the season.
Yes.
It's
not a wine bottle.
Complete game, offense, defense, minus that first drive, as Evan said. All around, great game. David, thank you for watching.
I went to high school with David. He's a Patriot fan.
Oh, hell no. All right, David. Well, thank you for tuning in.
So that's
how's the bottom of the East? We've been there. Hold it down
comment
for us.
Hey, Dave, if I drink enough beers, I'll say they have home field court advantage again. It's the Strawberry Reds. I haven't had it in forever. My wife found it up in PA.
David, looking up.
In my area.
We're gonna have fun tonight, guys. We're excited. We're having a blast. Bret and I haven't sat down together in a bit to talk Dolphins, talk football, but we got plenty to talk about. And of course, let's start off just with the Miami Dolphins before we start breaking down players and everything else. But the Dolphins are 7-3 for the season, and it's not a falling, getting lucky 7-3. It's none of that. It is a legit 7-3 football team. And what's great about it is even when you're winning games and post-game show, Bret, Justin, Evan, myself, you sometimes, Mike Brown less than us, but when the Dolphins win, we still go, man, okay, it's a win, but hey, they need to fix this. Hey, they need to do this. But the thing is, Miami is doing this and still winning, but they're learning as they're going, they're growing. Last game against the Cleveland Browns, which is not an easy team, despite the record, it is a tough team. The Dolphins dominated from start to finish, minus Jason Sanders. So let me just ask you this, since it's been a little bit since you and I talked. 7-3 Miami Dolphins. Man, what are you seeing, man? Is this a legit football team, and what are you liking so far with Miami?
Well, McDaniel's kind of pissed. Mike McDaniel kind of pissed me off Sunday.
Whoa!
Made me so mad. Tua didn't get 300 yards.
Oh, you son of a Come on, man.
I mean, like the fact
I thought you were going Evans route.
No, dude. The fact that we were looking at watching this game, and there was a couple plays, like the run game was clicking, right? And it was killing me because I liked. Don't get me wrong.
I got something for you, Justin. Hold on.
No disrespect to Edmonds, but I don't think Edmonds should have been signed for the role that they had him in. Like Edmonds would be good as like the third back, as like a receiving back, and I know he dropped a lot of passes, but all of a sudden, we get Greer's making the right choices. Yeah, you could say he overpaid for Chubb a little bit, but he added Edmonds into that move to be able to sign Chubb right away, which is fantastic. And the one thing I say about Greer, when he trades, he would not trade for a guy in a contract and then not pay him. Like there is no 1 year rental for Greer with those. I love that. And the fact that he goes and gets Jeff Wilson, who obviously knows the system, knows Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel actually drafted him, which a lot of people don't know. Day 3 of the draft, it's usually coaches, coordinators, position coaches, scouts. They're the ones making the selections for the most part. They're the ones that get to work with these guys a little bit more hands-on. So the fact that McDaniel was a big part of drafting Wilson brings him right to Miami. Immediate click. Him and Mostert. All of a sudden, Mostert looks like Mostert of old. And Mostert's been a beast, which is this is why I was excited about him. This is what I wanted to see. And Jeff Wilson, I didn't know he was even a trade candidate, just comes in and clicks. Like, you love to see it. Like, it's kind of like what Cleveland has. And this offense is now balanced. Adam Archuleta even mentioned during the game, like, hey, they were really well balanced. They had like 27 passes to 22 rushes. And he made the mention, like, yeah, you could throw the ball all year long, but when you get in the playoffs and later in the season, can you run the football? And the thing is, you look at successful teams, the Patriots through the years. They ran the football when it matters. They go all season with like an average run game, but they get to the playoffs and they run the ball down your throat. The Chiefs were able to find a way to do it. I think the only team that's really won in recent history without like a legit run game, and even they found one in the playoffs, was the Packers Super Bowl run with James Starks as their back. So like, you have to be able to run the football, and they're starting to run. Like, think of the Saints and how they ran the football at will all the time. So this is really good to see. And then you start to see like a couple plays with two of them, like, he almost ran himself right into a sack and drifted in the pocket. And I'm like, come on, man, you can't do that. Next play, big play, and it was that calls a third down. Next play, big play to Jalen Waddle on an out route, beautiful catch, and that led to a touchdown.
Right, best throw, in my opinion, that pass to Waddle.
Yeah.
I thought I got mixed up yesterday with Tyreek, but it was Waddle on that sideline. To me, probably the best throw of his career. The way that ball went. I mean, I keep talking about it because I was very impressed, and of course, the touchdown to Trent Sherfield on the corner.
That was a really nice touch pass. Sherfield is basically making Cedric Wilson obsolete. The offensive line, guess how many sacks the offensive line gave up? Zero. Like, the offensive line gave up 0, and Cedric Wilson sacked himself. So that was just a broken play. He missed the deep play downfield. But look, Cedric Wilson has been kind of a busted free agent. He's a risky free agent signing because I said 1 year production. But dude, that was just a huge like game for Sherfield. That was like, there at one point, Waddle and Hill were on the sideline, and there's Sherfield making a huge play. And then he got the taunting call, but okay, all right, whatever. And then they didn't let Adam Archuleta even mentioned didn't have a lot of negative plays, and I was loving to see that. And yes, Justin, that strip fumble and then X recovering, loved it.
Zach Sealer has been unbelievable.
You noticed that was the turning point in defense. The defense getting hit in the mouth, giving up, giving up, and then all of a sudden, Sealer set the tone, forced the fumble. All of a sudden, defense is playing lights out again. Roberts and Baker played the run the best I have seen them since they've been in Miami together. That's the best I've seen those two play to run together. They were lights out, still struggling covering. They both still struggle cutting off passing lanes, cutting off everything, but they still struggle. So, like, but however, Roberts sets the tone as a run. That's what he does best. He comes downhill and hits you hard. But that's what he does. Now in coverage, he's not that great. Baker, when you allow Baker to play downhill, he does pretty well.
So yeah, defense did give up a big time. They made in that first drive, Jacoby Brissett looked like a damn good quarterback on that first drive. Mm-hmm. They got punched in the mouth, and then when they come back on the field, it's a whole different story. Defense is setting the tone. The Sealer strip fumble, X recovery, which Justin talked about, which is absolutely true and awesome. Sealer has been such an impact player for this defense. You could complain about the pass rush. You could have complained yesterday, but this season you complain about the pass rush, that defensive line. You can't complain about Sealer, man. He has been
what I've said before. What did everybody do? Why did the pass rush get home more? Now, there's a couple times people didn't stay in their lanes, and that's when Brissett had a couple big runs. But when everybody stays in their pass lanes, everybody stays in their rush lanes, they get home. And you see what happens when they start stunning Wilkins inside more. It works. And when Wilkins stays at home and does his job, like sometimes he kind of freelances, and that's what they've always talked about, that he freelances sometimes and causes and guesses wrong, and then that's what leaves that lane wide open. Davis does the same thing. But you saw a lot more positive from them this time than the negative, a lot more positive play. So they need to keep building off of that. Now they're going through the bye. This is what worked. You go into the bye off a big win like that. Yeah. And we're not talking about Browns of old. Now, I'm not saying this Browns team is like beating the Bills by by 20 points. No, what I'm saying is this team, it's like beating. You took advantage of a team that was usually in Miami situation, and you just hit them in the mouth and hit them hard, and it hit them all game long. And then that touchdown that Chubb scored, did you notice the energy and the momentum didn't shift, although there were only 2 touchdowns behind at that point? It felt like, oh, here we go, man. Is this going to happen? But you never felt that. You never really got that sense. Normally, we would be like, oh, shit, here we go. They're going to come back.
I was just talking about that today.
Yeah, we had a stalled drive. Here we go. Now we're going to lose. Nope. They kept the foot on the throat, and that's what you want to see.
Alec Ingold showed up. It was nice to see. But everybody played a role here. What's this? Evan just went from Darth Vader sound like a Jewish love for Jesus. Alex.
But hey, Bethel, they picked on him and he's a special teams player. Crossing got hurt out for the year or out for the game. And but Bethel steps right up and step right in.
I was just talking about it yesterday. Patrick Surtain and Sam Madison in that secondary have done one hell of a job.
They are struggling. They have done injuries. Holy shit.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, if somebody could go down, they go down in the secondary, and look at the response that secondary has made. The
fact that they're not like forcing Igbenogany in just because of his draft, and he's done well when he's played for the most part. But the fact that they're playing the best man to step up, I love seeing that. McKinley's not playing bad.
No, he's not.
McKinley, he's not playing bad.
Free agent. Yeah, and I liked him when they signed him. I liked when they poached him. The word of Mr. Justin poached. I love McKinley out of Oregon. But let's talk about the offense. We still have Monday Night Football, but right now Miami is the number 3 ranked offense in the NFL. 25th last year when the season ended. Huge turnaround. I was talking to Alex today. I was talking to the guys yesterday, and one thing that stood out for me, we got to talk about him. Okay, is the quarterback Tua.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. This year, obviously, look at the numbers. I'm talking about there was like I was telling Alex today, and I talked to Evan and Justin yesterday. It's like 2 Tuas this year. The start of the year with that Baltimore game was very impressive. But when I would talk to the guys, even when I would say Tua struggled, blah 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 blah, it was still the same Tua. There was flat. There was some good plays, great plays, and there was plays where you're scratching your head. Since the injury, that was before the injury. After the concussion, these last 3 games, it's a different vibe with Tua right now.
After the Steelers game.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, it was after the injury. I mean,
Steelers game,
the plays he was making, it's been impressive for me.
Yeah.
So go ahead, make your point on the Steelers very quick.
So the Steelers game, he was Tua what we had saw before. So against the Bills, he was efficient, did what he was asked to do, kind of
consistent.
I'll say he was a game manager against the Bills because he got the ball sparingly, did what he needed to do to win, didn't turn the ball over. But again, that's not a bad thing because the Bills, it was one of those fist fights of a game where it's like basically the team that makes the most mistakes is going to lose. And at that time, the Bills were making the most mistakes. So all Tua had to do was just be smart. And that's what he did. He did his job. He made clutch plays. Sometimes that's fine. Sometimes that's all Tom Brady did. That's what great quarterbacks do. So we're not knocking him there. Against the Patriots, he was kind of meh. It was an okay game. But like, the game he had against the Ravens, obviously, we know, like, early on in the game, it's kind of like, it's not bad. Actually, it wasn't ever really a bad game. Then the fourth quarter just, like, became a great game. So, in comparison, the fourth quarter was so great, it made his, like, decent, solid, like, a good game, honestly. Other 3 quarters look like nothing. So, but then, like, against the Bengals, it started seeing, like, some of the same mistakes.
Before the injury, which me and Evan and Justin talked about, about the Bengals.
And then he comes back. And against the Steelers, it's kind of like, he's leaving points on the field. He's killing drives.
Gotcha.
Like, he's not like they're taking stuff away. There's open receivers downfield. He's not hitting them. Like, what is happening? Like, it's the opportunities are there. The Steelers were begging him to beat them deep. And then to go against the Lions and torch them. We go against the Bears. And there's still some opportunities left on the field against the Bears, especially late in the game that passed a Waddle underthrow. I know he wants that one back. But there's a lot more positive in the last 3 weeks than negatives. It's a lot less up and down, a lot more up. And that's what you saw too much out of him throughout his career, a lot of like up and down. And now he's starting to be up. And that's what coaches look at. They look at the consistency, like which way are you trending? And now right now Tua's trending up. Before Tua was kind of trending lateral, then up and down. And it was just like it was a seesaw with him. Now it's like he's projecting skyrocketing up exponentially. So That's really what you want to see. The mentals are still getting there, you can tell, but he's definitely
the thing is,
improved.
He's growing. He's growing as a player, but at the same time, he's putting up impressive numbers, and that's what you want to see in your young quarterback. I mean, you hit all the nails on the head, because Evan will say before anybody, the things I was saying before the season, consistency. That's what I wanted to see out of him. I said the ceiling was Chad Pennington, game manage, do not cost the team the game, blah blah blah. He was doing exactly that before the injury, before the game that you were saying. But
like
Lions,
2008
Bears, he is really, because you could say, oh well, you got Tyreek, you got Waddle, but he's making throws that other players wouldn't be making in these last 3 weeks, and he's showing out, which is pretty good to see, and it's exciting to see. It's not just, I'm going to pretend that he's this. No, he is showing it on the field, and that's what's exciting to see. Let me ask you something. You
don't want a Jimmy G or Jared Goff situation, right?
No,
and so you don't want to be the wool pulled over your eyes, and then like, just be cautious, because Jimmy G and Jared Goff really showed that out, right? And then they got paid, and then it was like kind of like, okay, time to move on. However, those teams had the assets to successfully move on, except the 49ers, successfully find someone to possibly replace them. The 49ers found Trey Lance. They would have the assets trade for Trey Lance. And now you see how that kind of worked out. Like, it kind of got lucky they still had Jimmy G. And whereas Jared Goff was traded, they got Matt Stafford, so it worked out. So it just following the Shanahan tree and the train of thought, and you even go back to Mike Shanahan, they're not afraid to like pay a quarterback, and then when he starts to kind of like stagger and it's not it, okay, we'll move on. So like Tua is turning in the direction that the others are turning in the up direction. Those guys hit a peak and stop. Tua is already like starting to pass them, and he's more accurate. He has better anticipation than them. So I think he's a better version of them for sure. So like, it's basically at this point, that's where he's at. Right. And that's not a bad thing, because those guys were trending up, but they stopped. So now you just see where he is, but they can get his 5th year options. They still have him another year after this. So he's only in year 3. They can get him year 4. They just have 2 more years with him before they have to really pay him a huge contract. So we can find out in the next 2 years, is he the guy? And if he's not, then you move on. But right now he's trending in the correct direction. Putting up numbers that we haven't seen since Marino.
So Alex is up there. He's in the comments there. He's producing the show. He always loves to throw that "we're quarterback away" thing, and that's what I did. I said that this offense, the talent of this offense with McDaniel, is a quarterback away. Mm-hmm. This was before at the beginning of the season, and again, and Evan will say, because Evan write. It seems like he writes everything down, but Evan will say exactly what I've said. We're a quarterback away. That's not a knock on Tua. Tua can grow into that, and he has no excuse not to. This was what I said before the year. When Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Kasicki, Mike McDaniel, who's supporting him, Devil Bevel. And so far, he has responded to that, and he has grown, and he is being the quarterback Miami needs.
Right.
It's awesome. He's not Anthony. He's doing a joke. Don't worry about it, brother. He don't mean that. Trust me. He's been on that bandwagon since the beginning, Alex, with Tua. So don't. He's picking on me anyway. But let's talk about that though, because Tua's in the MVP conversation, and he should be. And he should be. And I was saying, for me, I think Tyreek is more of the MVP than it is Tua, just because of what Tyreek has done for this football team, not just on the field, but off the field, what he's done for Tua on off the field to give him confidence and to give him the numbers.
He came in with the idea that I'm gonna help him. I'm gonna help this young quarterback.
I mean, before he even played a snap, he was saying, "Man, this kid is for real. Most accurate quarterback in the NFL." Blah 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 blah. He was taking the heat, and he is putting the money where his mouth is. He's worth the draft picks. He's worth the money, and because what he's done with Tua and this offense with McDaniel, he looks amazing, and he's about to break the record for most yardage, most receptions. Yep. So to me, that was MVP. But, and I told the guys yesterday, Tua played like he was like, no, I want that yesterday. He played like the MVP, and it was very cool to see. So I wanted to ask you something. Let me see if I can get this right. Pop this up first. Alex, do me a favor, Alex. I'm going to put the sound on. Why don't you go ahead and play that, put that picture up for me. Hold on.
Acknowledge me.
Take that down. Is it time? Would you say it's time for naysayers, critics, etc., to acknowledge Tua?
Yeah. I mean, like, acknowledge that he's answering the questions right now. Obviously, every quarterback's going to have questions that you still want answered, and you still have to wonder. The analytical side of me says it's still pump your brakes a little bit. Like,
Sure,
he's not like the greatest quarterback.
Caution, I get it.
But right now, he's playing at an MVP level, and part of the reason is, the team is, what's MVP mean? The most valuable player to their team. And what's he done so far? Well, the team is 0-3 without him. They're 7-0 with them. Even go ahead and count his the game he played against the Bengals as a loss, whatever, that's fine. Because you start counting like stuff like you count the Ravens game last year as a win for him. You got to like count the Bengals loss. Still 7-1. You know what I mean? Like, how many of you would take 7-1 in 8 games? The first 8 games. They say Tua never got hurt and they go 7-1. No one's complaining. Not even me. I'm not complaining. Even if it was a loss, like, damn it, that was an ugly loss. Like, still 7-1. So now we're 7-3. And we've squeaked out wins, right? In some games, and some games it's kind of like we like kind of shot ourselves in the foot. Like, come on, man! Like, the only team that can stop the Dolphins right now is the Dolphins at this point.
Yeah, Justin just said the same thing. All that can stop us is us,
right? And I've been saying that for a while. The only thing that's going to slow down this offense is them with their pre-snap penalties and stuff like that. But it's starting to get better every week. It gets better. Every week it gets better. It gets better and better. And so the coaching is getting better, and everything's getting better. The defense is getting better, and this is the time that we saw the defense get better down the stretch last year. So now if you're watching it, like, he's leading the team, leading the offense, and the run game's coming on now. The run game wasn't coming on before. So now all of a sudden, now we got a run game. Now we're running the football, and all of a sudden, now that we have a complete offense, and he's still clicking, and he's still making plays he needs to, and he's taking it one play at a time. Now, there's a couple times I didn't like it. It wasn't really his fault totally. There's a couple times I'm like, man, come on, what was that? And then there's times where I'm like, holy shit, like, this offense is like just on fire. If they could just kind of tweak a few things, we're talking this offense can be every bit as good as like Kansas City's offense. So,
well, I mean, what's better than the Kansas City offense is the run game. Because Miami has that big playability. I remember talking to Evan about it when it was that Pittsburgh game, and Pittsburgh was driving. The defense couldn't stop Pittsburgh, even though they beat themselves on offense, Pittsburgh. And I said, even if Miami had allowed Pittsburgh to score, of course, Igbo finished the game and secured the victory. I was not worried. It's funny now. I'm not like when the Dolphins are behind or I feel a team is coming back, I don't have that in me anymore where I go, oh, here we go. Dolphins about to cost us a damn game because of the big playability of the Dolphins offense. But now, and that's Tyreek and Jalen Waddle with Tua. But now you sprinkle in Jeff Wilson with Raheem Mostert and a legit running game.
All of a sudden, you got
with the way the offensive line played yesterday.
Yep.
Holy hell.
Oh, and who's the guy I wanted starting? Robert Jones.
Oh, Robert Jones. Yes.
All of a sudden, Robert Jones steps in. The left side just keeps running, keeps mauling people. Like, Robert Jones is not giving up that left guard spot. He's been good. Yeah. Not great, but good. And how about shout out to the offensive line for stopping the Browns' good defensive front.
Whoa, Jadeveon Clowney, Miles Garrett. They were. And I was concerned about Garrett because he's playing on that right side. And me and Justin talked about
Garrett would have got a few sacks.
Yeah, we thought he was playing the left side. No, he's playing the right side, and we were like, holy hell! And guess what? He was nowhere to be seen, and they were opening up holes for that run game. Which I have to say, Jeff Wilson Jr. bigger impact signing right now. It's not a knock on Chubb because I love Chubb. I love defense. Love pass rush. But Jeff Wilson is a bigger impact trade right now than Chubb is at this point of the season. Immediate impact.
Yeah.
And in the long run,
Chubb's impact has been felt already.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday he was there. You could see. And what he did for the week before for Jalen Phillips. It's awesome. But it's just, let me get here. I want to say something very quick because I saw Evan make a comment here, but he says, Bret bandwagon. He is a Jason Sanders away, a rant. How you feeling about Jason Sanders?
All right, so there's going to be a hit or miss here, and some people are going to like this, some people aren't. It depends. So Jason Sanders, again, I'm not going to complain about a guy who misses a couple 50-yard field goals. Offense needs to do better. I'm sorry. Complain if you want. Yeah, he needs to do his job. Yes, I understand.
50-point field goal. I get that. 50-yarders. I get those. And when you get that argument.
Like under 30, I'm like, okay. Then he's missing 2 extra points. Like, oh, God. And then somebody brought it to my attention. Now, this is somebody who's coached before, someone who's coached at a pretty good level. All right. they understand that it could be a long snapper issue too, that we probably don't have a great of a long snapper. Watching it again, the snaps could be a hair slow. And if that's the case, I don't know much about like how a kicker's plant foot's supposed to work. Like, the guys who kick know that better, but it's like, I'm wondering if that's a part of the problem. If it's where the snaps are, we know it's not a holder issue. Remember, we talked a lot last year that the hold was the issue. I'm wondering if it is a snapper issue, but either way, the kicker needs to adjust and figure it out, and the long snapper needs to figure it out too. So they need to get on the same page somewhere, somehow. But it could very well be a long snapper issue. But either way, we had a really good kicker in Jason Sanders, and now he's not a really good kicker. So we need to figure that out like ASAP, because that could cost us games. Like
he's a liability right now. He's missing extra points, because Evan was the first real person, especially on the network, who was really complaining about Sanders and talking about these 50 yarders, which you're bringing them now. I said, well, you should be going, that's on the offense to get past that 50 yards to give him a better chance. But now he's missing extra points, which in the end, when you're going against a Kansas City, when you're going against a Buffalo, when you're going against these good teams, you need to make those points. Right. You can't, because I understand, because that could be something that bites you in the ass in the playoffs. So what's up, Josh?
So
Wingate.
So here's the deal, like with this. So if you really think about it, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to bitch at a kicker for missing the 50-yard field goal. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, every now and then, you have to go. You have to kick the ball, right? So, like, you have to be able to make your field goals and do your job. But, like, if your offense is constantly stalling and you're constantly kicking 50-yard field goals, that's annoying. That's really annoying. So, it's like,
sure,
I'm more pissed off at the offense than I am the kicker. So when your kicker has 3 50-yard attempts in one game and he misses 1 out of 3, but he makes the other 2, I'm sorry, offense, do your damn job. I'm not even mad at the kicker, because the kicker can't miss. I mean, the kicker has to be perfect. That's a lot to ask. I mean, you think about how hard it is to throw an accurate ball 55 plus yards. How hard is it to kick a ball that accurate? So it's like, it's a lot to ask constantly. That's why I'm never going to bitch about a kicker constantly missing not constantly, but like some misses from 50, but it's when they start getting in the more consistent range that they should hit more, and they start having those misses on top of that, and it starts compounding. That's where we have a problem. But also our special teams, although they got the block punt last week, has been a problem as well. And I'm starting to have some frustration with the special teams all around. So, I mean, I feel like everybody on special teams is regressing anyway.
Let me just say, Dolphins Thirsty, Rob, where do you see Josh? He is tuning in from Facebook. Josh Wingate, new member with Josh Kimmel.
Yes,
of the
sir. Welcome,
Sports
guys.
Network, Beers and Sports. Awesome show. They are live tomorrow night after the awesome Real Talk Fins Talk with Steve Malloy and Dolphins Thirsty Rob, and the Fins bandwagon with Evan and Fish Tank Hank.
Sorry, I'm writing here, but I have something I'm going to do later on in the show.
Okay, so I just want to do my plug for DolphinsThirsty.com. Dolphin fans, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, smash that like and subscribe button. You're watching Overtime on the Fitstock Sports Network. DolphinsThirsty.com. If you love the Miami Dolphins, you love the trivia, you love the history, you love everything, go to DolphinsThirsty.com. First of all, give him a follow on Twitter at DolphinsThirsty, but also check out his website. Awesome site, awesome content, awesome dude. Appreciate him, and I love having him on the channel, on the network, on our team. Josh Wingate, Josh Kimmel, Beer and Sports, awesome show. I love their debut episode last week. Can't get enough of it. They were great. They were interacting with everybody. We were having a good time. They acknowledged Roman Reigns, the debate on Tua. It was just
so much sports, dude. So many different topics.
They were going all over the place.
Great.
Epic show. You got to check them out. And of course, if you are a diehard Miami Dolphins fan, if nothing can make you mad about the Dolphins, everything is kumbaya freaking ya. Tua could have diarrhea on the field and you still love him. He could throw 10 interceptions. It doesn't matter. He threw 10 touchdowns during the season. Fins bandwagon is your show. Awesome dudes. Evan Posner, Fish Tank Hank. Awesome guys. So you got 7:30 with Steve Malloy and Rob, Real Talk Fins Talk, 8 o'clock. About 45 minutes, more than almost an hour of great Dolphins content, great talk with Evan and Fish Tank, and then you got just sports talk, which is I mean, a great show. I'm excited about having Josh Kimmel and Wingate. Great dudes.
Dude, great. I was actually at the Senior Bowl with them in February. Yeah, February. That was such a good time. Had a real good time down there with those guys, and I'm hoping in a year or two to go back down there again. So, yeah, well, maybe we'll all make it a huge trip down there with the whole network. That'd be a blast.
Oh, would love it. That's my hope. I'd love to get everybody down there and have a great time and do what we love to do, and that's talk football and watch football.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about, because I've brought up Evan, and the growth of Mike McDaniel before the season. Besides Alec Ingold, I knew we got Tyreek. I know we signed Taron Armstead, but I said, and I wasn't on board with hiring him. But as it got closer and I started researching him, I loved what I saw. I liked what I saw. But more about after he got hired, the way he was with Tua, the way he responded to the players were responding to him even before playing a game, the way he was with the people in the building. You could see the difference in the culture. They're having fun. Alex brought that up before the show, the football team. And I said, before the game, because Evan will bring it up. I always say things. I don't say things I never say. I say things that people can hold me to it. That the best addition to this team, especially the offense, was Mike McDaniel. He has struggled this year with some play calls, with decisions, game management, time management, but he is a rookie coach. But we're talking about Tua, rightfully so. Give him his flowers. Mm-hmm. The Dolphins are 7-3, and this is not a falling into a 7-3. This is a legit 7-3 football team led by this rookie head coach. So, Bret, we are 7-3 in the season, first in the AFC East, the toughest division in football, second in the AFC.
Yeah.
Hey, you look at the records, the toughest division.
Yeah. No.
What's your thoughts on McDaniel, man?
So far, bad. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, you son of a bitch.
No, he's honestly, the thing I like about McDaniel is he didn't start out hot, believe it or not. Like there's some issues. You're like, man, what is going on here? Like what's happening with this team? And then all of a sudden, like things are getting better, like week to week. And I started having some concerns when Tua was out. We started having injuries. I'm like, okay, this is just going to spiral out of control. And if he doesn't get on top of it, this can get ugly fast. And we've seen it. We've seen it not only in Miami, we've seen it with other teams that when like they start out good, everything's all sunshine and rainbows, and all of a sudden a couple players get hurt and some losses happen or some losses happen. Next thing you know, it's spiraling out of control. And it didn't. And it feels like the team has like bought in and they're just they believe that this will work. We just have to keep going. And every win is big to them, no matter what.
Sorry, that was for Evan. Sorry, guys.
Every team will fit. Like every team.
Love you, brother.
But like everybody seems to be like, we're never out of this. We're never out. We're always going to be in this. And it's been. I think McDaniel's doing a good job. He's definitely earning the players' trust, and he's earning the fans' trust. And it's not been like it's had a couple bumpy roads already, and he's kind of like showing that we're just going to keep getting strong with adversity. And the real test will be after the bye week. You got the Texans and you got the Chargers, you got the Bills, the Jets, the Patriots, all not necessarily in that order, but it's all coming up. We have a tough stretch coming up, gauntlet of road games. So it's really how they finish and really tell us like who McDaniel and his team really is.
Let me ask you this, because we've seen what Miami's done. We know that, the Detroit Lions, Vikings is different. Vikings, I like to pat myself on the back. I said that they were going to be the top team in that area. I know Dave laughed at me, but so far so right. But Miami beat the teams they needed to beat. They had a statement game against the Browns. The way they have the top 3 offense right now, currently in the NFL, looks like it's going that direction. It's going to stay there. You got Houston after the bye. Then you got San Francisco. Then you got the Chargers, Buffalo, New England, Jets. Any of those teams scare you?
Yeah.
Any of those teams? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, New England, I mean, you can never count out New England.
No, that's fair. I get that.
Like the Jets beat us. The Jets turn around and get the snot kicked out of them by the Patriots, and then they go on to beat the Bills. So don't ever count New England out. They know us well. They're tired of losing to us, and it's going to be
the division.
Yeah, The division's tough.
Teams. Okay, that's fair.
I think we'll finish strong against the Jets. I mean, assuming injuries don't happen, but I think we'll beat the Jets. We'll split with the Jets. I think we'll split with the Bills. The Bills bother me at home, but I'd love to see us win at home. But it's going to be hard because I think we're in LA, then San Fran, and then back to the Bills. I can't remember. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
Do you think they'll drop one of those games?
Yeah, but it's just going to be really tough to lose that game. But the game against Cleveland was huge because I remember looking at the schedule, and let me bring the schedule up so I know for sure, because I knew Miami needed a win streak going into the gauntlet of the season. And no matter who you play, it's the NFL. Everybody can beat everybody. The Packers are having a terrible season. Sorry, Dave. And they're having a terrible season, and they upset the Cowboys. So, anybody can beat anybody in this league. So here we go. We come out of the bye. You got Houston at home.
That's fair.
Right? Then it's at San Fran, at Los Angeles. So you're on the West Coast 2 weeks in a row. So you got the Texans, who are will probably win. No problem there. The Texans are that team that can upset you, but they're not playing well at all. But then you're going to go at San Francisco. What's going to happen there? Shanahan usually beats his pupils, so we'll see. Los Angeles is, while they haven't been a great team, they're not they can beat you. So I think they could definitely beat us. So we need to be on top of our game there. And but they've had some struggles, and we saw how San Francisco beat them, and I think we'll beat them the same way. But they definitely are a tough team. So it's 2 games on the West Coast to turn around to go home or back up the road to Buffalo, right? And then on Christmas you got the Packers, and I just said, excuse me, anybody can beat anybody. The Packers just upset the Cowboys. The Packers can beat us. Can we beat them? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, it's any given Sunday, right? We know that.
Right. So
we know that.
The Packers can beat us. Looking at the schedule, the 49ers, at Buffalo, home for the Packers, at New England, and the Jets. Those 5 games are very realistic.
Wingate's causing trouble. Wingate's causing trouble.
Those 5 teams, they could lose those games. I'm not saying they are going to, but those are 5 games that you could flip a coin right now and say, I could see them winning, or I could, if they lost, would you absolutely be surprised? And most fans that are realistic would say, no, I'm not going to, wouldn't be surprised we lost that game. So
I had it 10-7 on the year. That was my prediction. I was comfortable with that, but seeing the way, and even when we last 2 games,
I think I said 11-6 because the Browns had Jacoby Brissett. Remember, it's 10-7 with Watson. 10-6 or 11-6.
11-6. Are you comfortable? Are you staying with that?
Yeah.
Because for me, seeing what Miami has done as an offense and they're growing as a defense, especially with the trades that they made at the deadline, I feel like 12-5 is a realistic. I could see us dropping 2 more games.
I'm looking at this schedule right now, and right now, if you want me to, so Texans win,
100%, Steve.
49ers loss. Okay, I'm just going to count. Let's just go with history. What history has told us: 4:00 game, West Coast. 49ers beat us. Shanahan beats his pupils. Fine. Fair enough. We beat the Chargers, lose to Buffalo. So far, we're 2-2, right? Wins against Texans and Chargers, loss against 49ers, Bills. I don't think anybody would really argue with that too much. Then, home for the Packers. At New England, New York. If we finish 2-2 in this stretch, so let's say we beat the Texans, you're going and you go 1-2 in that stretch, but then you finish the last 3 at 3-0. I think that's really good. Now I want you to think about this in this way, real quick. Sorry, I'm kind of going on with this. I want you to think of this way. You had the 4. Okay, so Cleveland was the first game of the third quarter of the season, right? First game of the third quarter of the season. So now you got 3 games. So we come out of this bye, we beat the Texans, lose to the 49ers, and beat the Chargers. We just went 3-1 in that stretch. Then you lose to the Bills and then win out. Now you're 3-1 in that stretch. So if you look at it that way, you go 6-2. Yeah, so I'm pretty comfortable with my 11-6 prediction, being and comfortable saying that it could be better at 12-5.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. Wingate there is there causing trouble. Gotta love it. That's a bit of
I'll hang up.
I don't know if he did. I don't know if he did leave, but tomorrow's show, I think he has something going on where people could come in and talk for a little while. I think this would be cool to have on their show. But who's better right now, man? Is it Tua or Dak Prescott?
I'm not getting into
Oh yeah. No. It's overtime, man. Let's put that oven on.
Right now, this season, Tua's having a better season.
Oh!
I didn't want to say it. You put me on the spot, but I had to. Tua's having a better season right now.
Miami.
So, all right. So, what I've been working on. What is that? Is that Shao Kahn?
That's Roman Reigns. Acknowledge me.
Tell me that doesn't sound like Shao Kahn.
Yeah. Who would you rather have as the future of your team? Oh, well.
That can't
Tua.
be Josh. Is that Josh Wingate or is that
That's
Josh
Wingate.
Kibble? Who's stirring the pot on that account?
Yeah. Well, because
Stop
Wingate was just on, unless he jumped to his YouTube, you know.
Oh man, that's a tough one actually.
I'll answer. I mean, honestly, if you're asking me right now, and I like that coming out of college, but if we're gonna complain about injury concerns and all that, and just the way Tua's been playing,
I might as well just take that argument.
I'm gonna go Tua, man. I roll Tua.
Take that argument off the table because they both have injury history. So
Yeah.
I mean, like so that basically that argument becomes like null and void. But like, so what I've been doing. So
yes,
let's talk about that.
Go
what
ahead.
I've been doing here before the season. Would you ask me what kind of numbers do I want to see from Tua for me to say he gets another year or he's done enough to like be happy? So I just kind of threw it out there. Let's say Jimmy Garoppolo's Super Bowl season, right? And everybody's like, "Oh, why would you pick Super Bowl season?" Well, I'm not talking about the winning in playoff game Super Bowl. I mean more the numbers he put up, because the numbers I felt he put up in this same very, very same system were very manageable numbers for Tua, and they're very like realistic. So in 16 games now, he had 329 passes, 76 attempts, 69 completion percentage, right? 3,978 yards, 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Now that's 16 games, so let's adjust it to 17 games. So you divide it by 16 and multiply by 17. Simple statistics. We're not doing anything fancy. Adjusted stats would be 349 completions of 506 attempts, 4,226 yards, 29 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, right? Still reasonable within 17 games. 4,200 yards, 29 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, and we're talking probably still right about 69% completions. So we think that's pretty reasonable, right? So right now, Tua, now granted, he has much better weapons than Jimmy G did then, right? But
playing better too.
Right. Still, Tua's at 71 completion percentage, 2,265 yards, 18 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Now, technically, that's 8 games. So what I did, I subtracted the Bengals game, right? Just for easy math. Just to subtract that quarter, a half, whatever you want to call that. I've been counting about a half. So let's just subtract it for simple numbers, and you don't even have to add this. So this is just going to blow your mind. If you subtract that game and just look at the projection he's on for 17 games, 5,233 yards, 44 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. 17 games. That's subtracting his half out of there. That's subtracting the half. So, like, and
so what you're saying is that we should acknowledge him.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, like his numbers, I don't care who you're putting at quarterback or who you're putting at receiver. I get that. But 5,000 yards? When's the last time I had a 5,000-yard quarterback? You don't have to answer that.
Evan, you shut the hell up, Evan.
I'm giving you good numbers,
Those
Evan.
are unbelievable numbers. You'd be all over. You look like that
40
that South Park guy, the guy with all the white shit.
Dude.
If Tua threw 44 touchdowns with 5 picks,
Hold
acknowledge
on.
me.
Look at Drew Brees, man. Y'all wanted to compare him to Drew Brees. Fine. I think one of the times Drew Brees threw for 5,000 yards, I don't know if he had 44 touchdowns or not. I know he's had 1 year with that. So he's had 5,476 yards and 46 touchdowns. Granted, 16-game season, but that's insane numbers. He threw 40 touchdowns twice in his career. Twice. That's it. 2011, 2012, that was it. He consistently threw 30. But, like, Tua's on pace for that. Like, that's insane. He's on an insane route right now, and that's just the pace he's on. And he finished these 7 games on the same pace. He's still throwing for 4,000 yards. You got to think, without the Bengals game, he's thrown for 2,155
Dak
yards.
almost had that in 2019.
I'm just saying, like, look, he had 2,100 yards already, 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in 7 games, subtracting the Bengals just because I'm not even saying it doesn't count. I'm just saying he played a half, whatever, just to make it simple math. In 7 of his games, he's already thrown for 2,000 yards. He's got 7 games left. So basically, he keeps that same track. He's over 4,000 yards. He's over 30 touchdowns, and he's under 20 or under 15 interceptions, which to me, under like double digits interceptions is not that big of a deal. The 10 to 12 interceptions is fine, especially when you're throwing 30, 40 touchdowns. So that means you're throwing the ball a lot too. But I'm just saying, like, it's realistic. He's going to be a 4,000-yard passer.
Let me just respond. Let me respond to Josh very quick because, okay, that's fair. He's a Cowboys fan, and he's looking at it from outside of Dolphins fan base. So I get that. So from that point of view, he's saying, okay, Tua's playing very well, but I'm not ready to make him my franchise quarterback. That's fine.
And I can agree with Josh with that.
I get where he's coming from, but he is the Dolphins' current franchise quarterback, and you got to admit he's playing at an unbelievable level after the injury. I mean, and it's not just Tyreek. I mean, he is making some crazy throws, and it's good to see. Bret, would you still draft Herbert over him? Are you? Come on, dude. Don't. See.
So like look. So you look at it, the situation. So you're gonna say Tua's situation was shit. I think right now the situation Herbert's in is shit. I think Joe Burrow
Herbert is a bad situation. It's true.
That coaching is. I don't really like the situation over there.
No, Staley needs to go.
Yeah. So
they should have hired Jeff Saturday.
Their defense is bad. The run game is like the only thing that carrying them. Their weapons aren't as good as people think they are. There's a mess over there right now, and Herbert's still a good quarterback, and people forget that he's been playing with cartilage ripped off, or his bone ripped off his cartilage in his rib cage
earlier in the year.
Yeah, that sucks. It didn't break; it was worse. So he's still a good quarterback. Would I take him over Tua? I don't know yet. At this point, probably because that's where I was before. But like, could you start both their careers over and give them both a really good situation? Where would they be? And it's hard to imagine that if you gave them both a good situation at this point, where either one of them would have any questions around them at all. So like, I think if you gave them both, like, okay, just for example, Tua made it to New England, or Tua made it to Seattle. Or Herbert made it to Seattle, or Tua made it to the Chiefs, or Herbert made it to the Chiefs. So, or even the Ravens, or something along those lines. You got to imagine that those guys would probably be panning out, or to the Lions, or not Lions, the Rams or 49ers. These guys would probably be turning out. So, in my opinion, it's tough. It's really tough.
Look, I've said it too, and whether you were for Tua or against Tua, or you just don't like Tua and you're for Tua. Everyone could admit that Miami did Tua no favors in the 3 years to 2.5 years he's been there. This year, they go out, they get Tyreek, they get McDaniel, whatever reason why they did it, and they go out and they say, they still tried to trade for Deshaun Watson, they still try to get Tom Brady, they still try to, you got the questions about Herbert, whatever, but they say, you know what, they get stuck with Tua, they get with Tua, they say, okay, well, what are we gonna do? Let's get Armstead, let's draft Waddle the year before, let's trade for Tyreek, let's take advantage of that situation. And for the first time since he's been here, they do right by him. They put a team around him at offense, which I never thought they could get the talent that Alabama had. They do that, and he is showing up. I mean, you got to give credit where it's due. He is responding well.
Well, yeah, he's responding well. The biggest concern I have, that if you were to ask me what's a concern I have going forward, is what happens without Tyreek? What happens without Waddle?
Alex, put that list up, please.
What do they do? Sorry,
I want to talk. I'm going to talk about that. Let me just say, Josh, man, we on Fitz Talk today, from the question that Evan had asked back then, and he brought it up now. Now you finally got your list out there. We talked about that. Me and Hank went through the 32 quarterbacks, and honestly, stopped. I believe he was 4. We had 4 above him. He was 5. I think that's how it worked out. But honestly, I mean, if you're talking about right now, I think Pat Mahomes, you would take over Tua. Josh Allen, you would take over Tua right now.
Because look what Pat Mahomes is doing without Tyreek Hill. Look what Tyreek Hill is doing. I mean, so but wait a minute, that's weird.
Herbert, it's the same situation. Herbert and me, I wanted him. And again, full disclosure, when it was the draft time, I wasn't paying for Tua. I was for Justin Herbert. When we drafted Tua, I got the jersey. I was happy. I said, let's do it. I have my questions throughout the 2 years. Of course, you got to give the point. The truth is, Miami didn't do him no favors, but he is responding. But if you look at that, let me just go back to that list, Alex. Let me see. Hurts isn't in the MVP race. I can understand people think about Hurts, and they gave him AJ Brown. He has Devontae Smith. He's showing out. Okay, Aaron Rodgers. If you're talking about right now, it's still Aaron Rodgers. I'll give you that, but I can't. I don't know if you can. Kirk Cousins. I like Kirk Cousins. I don't think he gets enough credit, but I don't know if I take him over to Joe Burrow. Okay, that could be Trevor Lawrence. I'm not there, dude. I don't know about Trevor Lawrence. I mean, and again, he's in a better situation. I'm happy for him. He has I love the coach, Doug Peterson. They do right by him, but again, I think 4 or 5 acknowledge me. Go ahead, Alex, you drop it. Right now, it's hard. I'm talking for my franchise. I get it. You're talking from another. You're not talking as a fan. You're talking about from an outsider's point of view. It's right. Fair. I got you.
But at the same time, what are you? When you look at something like this, what kind of offense are you running?
That's true.
What do you?
Sean Williams brought it up on digging in the trenches. When we were talking about the MVP race, and I was for Tyreek. Justin was for Tua, but the way that, and Alex is saying right there, fit and personnel and what Sean did, which is not a knock. It's fair. He was just saying Tua is the system quarterback. They built the right system around him. He's excelling in this system with these weapons. If you and that's what look at Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson ended up being a system quarterback, but Tua is excelling at that system right now. So it fit personnel, scheme, it's working well. And right now, Tua is the perfect quarterback for that situation. But if you're talking about outside point of view, that I understand, All
right. Chug. So the way I look at it is, what am I trying to do offensively? What kind of offense do I want to run? What am I looking for in a quarterback? And the thing is, looking at it, I still like the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes, the Justin Herberts, because they have the ability to break a game wide open. Yes, timing, accuracy are great traits. At the same time, it gets overstated because people don't really understand ball placement. Where is the ball supposed to be? How do you attack that coverage? Where is that ball supposed to be? It doesn't matter how accurate you threw the ball if you threw it to the wrong spot. So if you got stacked coverage, you're supposed to throw it to the underneath outside shoulder so the cornerback can't get to it. All right, well, with stacked coverage is when the corner's over top and the corner's underneath, or corner's basically over top, allowing basically everything underneath to happen and just basically don't get beat deep. Well, if he's playing stacked coverage, you usually want to throw it to the outside shoulder on a sideline throw on a comeback. But, if you're putting it to the inside shoulder trying to lead him forward, even if it's accurate where the receiver makes a catch, it's still not a good passer because you're not doing. So a lot of that is stuff that fans don't really understand, and it's stuff that they overlook, and it's stuff that you see guys like Herbert and Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tua recently understand where to put the ball.
Well, you got to look at it at that point of view too. And if you put Pat Mahomes, obviously, if you put him on Miami, it's a different story. You got Tyreek, etc. But you put Pat Mahomes on any other offense, he's going to be great. That's what he is. Allen, you put Stephon Diggs. The Stephon Diggs, but Allen now is growing as a quarterback where you put him in a certain situation, he's going to be. But Russell Wilson, Alex just said it. Fit personnel opposite of Tua this year is Russell Wilson. You took Russell Wilson out of Seattle. Yep. What the hell is he right now?
Now, don't get me wrong. You still need some coaching. You still need good coaching.
Sure, at 100%.
Talk about Russell Wilson, his quarterback coach, where he had the most success, Darrell Bevel, who was the offense coordinator there for a long time. You took him away, and all of a sudden he struggled. Now you bring him in. Now, Josh Allen's starting to show some issues. Ken Dorsey was his quarterback coach, right? But Ken Dorsey's not the offensive coordinator. Brian Daboll is leaving. All of a sudden, Daniel Jones.
Look at Daniel Jones. Another one of my guys.
But like Josh Allen, don't get me wrong, Josh Allen is still playing amazing. Is still 100%. A great quarterback. Yeah. But like there's some things where you're like, here's where I think Brian Daboll, an experienced offensive coordinator, would say, settle down. This is what we're going to do. Stop doing this. It's not working. Remember, we need to do this. This is what we talk about in the game plan. But it's not what's happening. And so it's like, I think Daboll, just his experience, he would understand, okay, we need to, this isn't working. And Allen's getting frustrated and feeling he needs to carry a team. We're going to start doing this and this. So I think that's something that Russell Wilson was missing. And I think the thing with Russell Wilson, it was just kind of thrown into a situation, believe it or not. But like with Darrell Bevel, he's coaching to or through it. Like, it's not working. Let's keep moving.
Listening to nonsense or reading nonsense? Because I don't think it's nonsense. What the hell are you talking?
Why is Darrell Bevel like not being talked about with this whole thing either? Like, we talk about Brian or Mike McDaniel, but Darrell Bevel has done a fantastic job.
I want to answer Josh's question. And if you're talking about in season, if you're talking about tomorrow in season, bro gets cut. Why is he getting cut? What did he do? It must be a reason, right? What did he? But no, I would not sign Burrow over Tua right now in season, because then you're messing with the chemistry of the football team. Let's see how the season plays out, and we'll ask that question.
End the season though.
Hey, wait for the season play out.
I like Joe Burrow in this offense. I love it.
Yeah, no. Okay. I love man. We got two stirring pots right now.
Listening to nonsense, Evan. I'm educating y'all. See what this is why I get killed on Twitter, because if I use like an educate like the actual like X's and O's stuff and how things are supposed to work, and I know like this much compared to like this much. But most people know like this much. So like they're looking at it like, oh, you're Evan, so wrong. You're just an idiot. Like, okay.
Evan was talking about Crossman, about giving Crossman MVP of the coaching staff. He liked what he saw.
Who said that?
I'm being an ass. Okay. Yeah, he's talking about Devil.
I'm about to say who said Crossman? Oh God, his although he does have a very expensive punt returner.
Yeah, he does. He does. But hey, we're getting up on the hour here, man. But this has been fun because we haven't done this in a while, and it's always fun sitting with you and talking football, talking Dolphins. But Dolphins are 7-3 again. First in the AFC East, which is a tough-ass division right now. The Jets, Joe Douglas, I want to say I hate giving credit where it's due, but I got to give Joe Douglas credit. And that's not free agency. That's the draft. He's done one hell of a job with the Jets. The Buffalo Bills are still the Buffalo Bills. You can't count out the Patriots when Bill Belichick's the head coach. They are winning with two quarterbacks because they can't figure out which one because Jones struggles, etc. But Miami is 7-3, and it's a legit 7-3. The defense, which is 25th right now, I believe, in the NFL, but they're showing growth. You're seeing the growth. The pass rush is starting to come together. You need that to make a push in the playoffs more than offense. But offense, it's not just a pass first big play team. It is now a running team as well, which I thought was going to have the bigger impact this year. Didn't show up at first, but second half of the season, it's showing up. It's exciting right now. It's exciting. Mozart, Jeff Wilson Jr., number 23, doing that number proud. Ronnie Brown, Jay Ajayi, they're doing the number proud right now. It's only 2 weeks. It was fun, man. It's
Patrick Surtain.
Patrick Surtain. Oh, come on, man.
Come on, man.
I'm up, man, brother. You know what I wanted to stick with the running backs, but you're gonna try to pull me like that. All right.
Just kidding, because he's there. But
let me just say, everyone who's tuned in, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, thank you so much. Watching Finstock Overtime on the Finstock Sports Network. Again, tomorrow it doesn't end. 7:30. You got Real Talk Finstock with Dolphins Thirsty Rob and Steve Malloy, my fellow Golden Hawk from Miami Springs Senior High. You got the Fins bandwagon, if Evan hasn't had a heart attack by now, at 8 o'clock Eastern. And then you got the Beer and Sports Podcast, brand new show at 9 o'clock Eastern. Josh Kimmel, Josh Wingate, everything in between. Football, Tua is going to be discussed. That it's just good. It would be boring without it. They're talking basketball. They're talking baseball. They're talking wrestling. They talk everything. It's an amazing show. Wednesday,
pickleball's getting some popularity on TV now.
Pickleball, everything.
I'm talking pickleball. That shit's fun as hell.
Wednesday, I will be flying. I will be heading to Miami. I will see my
Yes.
brother, Alex Atiachiska. I will see my family. I'm excited. But you got the oh my goodness. Fast break. It's not Goon Squad anymore. It's Fast Break. NBA talk. I think they're talking about the Orlando Magic this week. Paolo Banchero. Alex, is that right? That's the rookie?
Banchero.
Let me tell you, that dude is legit, man. That is a real deal, that kid in Orlando. Magic have a nice freaking damn basketball team. I love the future of that team. I'm excited from Alex is talking about that, plus the NBA. Then you got the No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast. What happened? Broadcast. Yeah. Oh, you got No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast. Alex, Ryan, and Alfred, awesome dudes. They're going to be talking. They're going to start getting prepped for the War Games match, the Survivor Series War Games, which I'm very excited about because I'm a huge fan of WCW. Back in the day, the Fall Brawl War Games, they're going to be talking about that. I don't know about tomorrow, but I mean Wednesday, but they'll talk about it the week after. I think I'll be involved in that. And then Thursday, Bottoms Up, Fins Up, Huddle Up and Wait, maybe, or is that on Friday? We'll see. One of those 2 days. And then, of course, maybe Thursday night as well, we might have a special Fins Talk today at night with me and Fish Tank Hank, if I could work it out, since I'll be in Orlando on Thursday night. So, Bret, any final words, brother, before we close it out?
We're
7-3.
We're 7-3. Tua's having a hell of a season. He should be considered for MVP. He's having a great year, and the whole offense is clicking. The run game's clicking. Defense came along this week, and you know, we got the bye week at the right time, getting Jeff Wilson and getting Bradley Chubb in for a couple games, and then going to the bye to kind of reset and get things moving. I'm excited. I'm actually excited. First time in a while that we've actually had like explosive plays. I have not seen an offense this explosive in Miami in years. So I'm really excited.
Lifetime for some.
Yeah.
Lifetime for some.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, man. Fins Talk Overtime on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Smash that like and subscribe button. And as always, more importantly than anything, fins up, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. Such a troll.